Hello, hello, and welcome to another Atomic Cast. It's Tom here today. We've got Zahir. Zahir, say hi.
Hello.
And we've got Lee. Lee, say hi.
Hello.
Neither of you said hi. Disgraceful.
We don't do what we're told.
So, as you can guess from today's title of the video, we're going to have a little look at some of the high points, meta, and general tournament list of things that have been happening recently. We've done this before where we looked at the low points one, but it was quite early in the year, so we only had a little bit of data. Now we've got loads to play with, so it's exciting. So many graphs. Lee's excited, aren't you, Lee?
I do love a graph. I do love a graph.
Luckily, they're all bar charts as well. Everyone's favourite. I thought I might spice it up with a histogram, but I didn't make it.
I don't know what that is.
That's one for all the kids doing GCSEs right now. So anyway, meta-analysis. Let's have a look. What is a meta? Boom, 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 boom. So, first of all, what is a meta? What kind of armies are you likely to see at events? And why? So, like, if you were to go off the top of your head, we're playing 700 points or so plus. Zahir, what kind of armies are you likely to see, do you reckon?
Corsairs and Harad.
Cool. Interesting choices.
Angmar. Riders of Theoden.
Yeah,
Like that.
all that good stuff. And then Lee, I'll ask you this one. But who's going to be up at the top tables of those events?
Okay, so basically what Zahir just said, but I would flip it in the way that I think at the meta you'll see two sort of like little mini metas. So you have one meta where it's going to be people are going to have the Rohan, the Isengard, the Minas Tirith because they're easily available and you can buy them fairly cheaply. And then you have the gamers where you'll have the Assault on Helm's Deep, Black Riders potentially, and then you've got the other list that he said, so like Corsairs, Harad, Alliances.
Zahir went straight in with the good stuff.
He did.
Sorry,
but that's what I would expect to see at the top.
Yeah,
maybe some survivors of Lake Town, all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, all that lovely stuff. And I've also thrown another term out here down the bottom, in a gatekeeper army. Lee, again, I'm going to throw this one at you because you love this word.
I love this phrase. And
what is a gatekeeper army?
So a gatekeeper army is an army that you can pick it up and have a good time. And if you're playing against a newer player or a player that doesn't understand that army, it can most of the time be a very not easy win, but you're very much the top dog. You're very much expected to win that game. So a gatekeeper army can be, I would say, Assault on Helm's Deep is a little bit like that. If your opponent's army isn't geared up to beat it, or they don't know how to play against a ballista or a siege weapon, they can get punished hard and quick. And then it's that point that you're with a gatekeeper army, you're then expecting out of like a 6-round event, you can realistically do a 4-2, 4 wins, 2 losses. Because you will get those games and those opponents that don't understand the army, and then you'll do well. Hence, it's a gatekeeper. That's where I say it. Black Riders is another one. If you don't know what you're doing and you haven't got a way to stop what they're doing, which isn't very common, you're more likely to lose that game. Hence why the term gatekeeper. If that was explained well, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. So the kind of thing where when you first go to an event, you take your army that you would use at home with your mates, you rock up to an event, you might win a couple of games, but then suddenly something will come across that you've never played before, and you just go, that's insane. How'd you beat that?
Yeah.
And then you talk to a lot of people at the top of the tables, and they go, oh, yeah, you just need to do this, this, and this, and then you win against that. It's not that scary.
No, but an army like that will get you a fairly decent win-loss ratio for that reason. You will come up against people.
Something like a low point Goblin Town Horde, if you don't know how to deal with it, it's going to beat you. And you can go
Lake
to events
Town.
and you can do fairly well with that.
Lake Town's another one.
Yeah.
You can clean up quite a few games just by having a horde, and your opponents just don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool.
But sorry, a caveat to that is, but like you said, when you then get to the top tables, hence why you'll go like a 4-2, because once you win the first couple of games, you'll then get paired up against somebody who does know the army or does know how to beat it, and then it's a lot closer game and you can lose. That's why you tend to go like that.
Something with one trick or one gimmick that just if you don't know how to stop that one trick, it's going to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you've got like a football player who's well good at free kicks or something, and he just bangs in a couple. Like James Ward-Prowse, Southampton have survived in the Premier League off the back of, go on, give us a free kick, we'll bang one in, and that's it.
Okay,
there you go. That's my football reference for anyone who's out there.
I think
right.
me and Lee looked completely lost then.
No, Lee's well into Plymouth. Loves it. Right. So off the back of things, an army that you would take and you just kind of hit the wall and don't know what to deal with. I did a poll on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook page, probably about a month ago now, to see who they thought was the strongest army in the game at about 700 points. First of all, I will say before we go any further into this video, in my opinion, the best army in the entire game is the one that you're comfortable and experienced with, I've played lots of games with, and I think that's the same for everyone. We all think that.
Yep.
Like you could go, well, that army's good and won the last event, grab it, take it. You might win a couple, but you're not going to win the event. It's just
some
not
unexpected wisdom from Tom. I'm very surprised.
I'm well wise, me. Dead clever. So the public Facebook vote we did, they have voted for Angmar by a landslide as the scariest kind of list at 7 points. Assault on Helm's Deep was in second. Survivors of Lake Town and the Corsairs were all up there. Everything else that they voted for had kind of like 1 or 2% of the votes. These are the only 4 that had like 5-10% votes. Angmar was like 30%.
And again, jumping in, this leads back to the gatekeeper, right? So a lot of those people that voted on that poll may be newer or gone to a couple of events or whatever, but Angmar, Assault, Survivors, and to a lesser extent Corsairs, they are gatekeeper armies. If you don't know what you're doing, especially Angmar, you will get slapped. Like if the Angmar player knows what they're doing and you don't, you can get slapped. And this is where people then go, and you'll get slapped hard, same as Assault. And this is where people go, oh, it's overpowered. Well, it's not. It's just strong, but it can really pick you apart. So that's why I think people get so angry about them being overpowered. It's because it's feel bad. It's feel bad. They can be feel bad.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. And I would throw Corsairs in there. It's only because we don't have anyone locally who uses them properly at like high points.
No, that's fair.
If you run up against a Corsair list piloted well and you haven't seen it before, like all those crossbows, all those throwing weapons, the backstabbers, the +1 to wounds, the traps, to all that, it's the
+1 to wound. I played Aaron Pullen an event up the north, and he broke my 47 Army of Fraud Dwarf army in 2 turns. Like he just nearly wiped me off the board in 2 turns. Genuinely. Yeah. It was insane.
So what do you guys think? What would if your picks for the top 3 or 4 lists in the game at 700, 800 points, what would you guys put up there? Is it different to what these 4 are?
No, well, I honestly think that's pretty good. I would. Go on, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, go. You finish.
Oh yeah, no. I think that's all I can really think of. To be honest, I haven't played a lot of 600, 700 point tournaments, so I'm not, well versed in this. To be honest with you,
you're just here for the party. It's all right.
I've played one tournament, so give it.
There were 2. We were chatting about this earlier, and there were 2 things that someone mentioned that aren't on here. One of which is elves of some form.
Yeah.
And the other one being
Pits.
Black Riders.
Pits and Black Riders, yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both of things to chat about. Black Riders are insane.
Yeah.
They
I was
are
probably
the very definition of a gatekeeper thing. If you hit them,
I think Black Riders needs a bit of pilot, like a good pilot though, to get the best out of it.
100%.
Like I think that like having 9 models means you really need to know how to use those 9 models well and use the magic and stuff. Because like again, just talking from personal experience, I've not used magic a lot, so like when I've ever taken a ring race or something, I'm not very good with it. And I think that just comes with practice. So you really need to like sort of drill that 9 model army against, because you will be facing like 40-50 models at 700-800 points, and you need to be able to utilize those transfixes, the channeled, like knowing when to channel and all that kind of stuff is really important.
Oh, I fully respect someone who can win an event with Black Riders, like a 6 or 7 game event. If you can pull off what that with Black Riders, you know what you're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the other one you said was Pits, which is just like super Azog. Leroy.
Yeah. I would change it slightly. So I think Assault and Angmar are fine. I would actually drop Survivors and Corsairs. I think I would drop one of the 2 for Black Riders, and then I would drop the other one for, I don't know, there's just so much more spicy stuff you can get at 700 points ally-wise. So you can get Riders of Fairden, I think deserves to be up there still at 700 points. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Definitely on certain missions, it's really good. Then you've got Elves, like I said, Rivendell, or even Curveball, because they're my babies. One of my babies, like 5 armies, Battle of 5 armies type. So you got like your Thranduil's Halls, Survivors, and then Iron Hills mix. I think them together are quite strong, but again, you don't tend to see it. But I think they're quite strong. I feel like Survivors
at 700, just having Dane and Thranduil just going through things was just hilarious.
Yeah. I just feel like Survivors and Corsairs, they're good, but I don't think, like, from me, I just don't think they're like top tier still. I don't know. I don't know. I would think definitely Black Riders in there, and yeah, maybe Fairden, to be honest with you, because like you haven't seen that many
Survivors.
Yeah, you don't see it, do you? You don't see that many still. Yeah, as it won an event.
My theory of it is that it's only up here because one person uses it and uses it well.
I agree.
But it's a fairly high profile person, so everyone kind of goes, "Oh, it's really good." It's like, well, actually, have you ever used it?
It's actually, it's hard to pilot. I think. I don't think it's as good as people think it is. If it was as good as people say it is, we would see it more.
Yeah, because I think, to be honest with you, we're all like addicted to the models, and we'll spend the money on an army.
That's irrelevant.
I think it's a lie to say, "Oh, it's because they're expensive." It's just that's a lie,
It is a lie, and especially if people like us, like-minded like us, because there are a lot of competitive players out there now. If they were the best army or one of the best armies, people would go out and buy it. They would, and if you say you don't, you're lying.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Because let's be honest, we all buy.
All right.
We're addicted. We all buy all the models because we want to win.
This is why I'm not allowed back.
So we have taken the day for this week off of 700 point plus events. They're all GBHL events that have happened this year, and we've got 500 or so players in this list. It's mad. Or like 500 or so lists. I think it's 520-ish. So a nice big pool of data to play with.
Is that just the Portsmouth lads going to all the events this year?
Yeah, they're all farmers, so it's all right.
They're everywhere.
So, our first graph. Here we go, boys. So this is an absolute mess. But this is the first thing that kicked out to me, which is all of those armies all thrown together in one massive list, right? So you've got a couple of obvious standouts here in the middle. So you've got Mordor, who have managed to break 40 different people taking them to events.
That's mad.
Right. You've got Minas Tirith there over 30. Rivendell up around 25. It's mad.
Look at
I think the
Angmar
thing is,
go as well.
Ministerieth and Mordor are just like they're just the best. They ally with so much. They give you so much option. You know, they're auto includes, aren't they? You've got so many options for different things you can do.
You don't even need to ally them. There's so much in their own army list.
Yeah.
And this is the primary faction, so the faction that had the most points spent on them, if there were any allies.
Check out Little Army of Thor. That was probably all me.
It is all you.
But is there anything in there that is surprising to you, new information to you? Who was taking Easterlings to events before the book playtesters?
I think it all seems fairly.
It's interesting that Isengard is so high, like pure Isengard.
I was going to say that seems low.
Okay,
but that's Isengard without any legendary legion.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Without any legendary legions.
Oh, I see. Fine.
So Assault is way down here on the left. Assault and Helm's Deep there is less than 10, and Isengard is nearly 20.
That does surprise me. No, you're right, Zahir. Yeah, sorry.
Because like I guess the thing is the Scout Legions sort of top out at 500, 600 maybe. I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. This next one here, I did a bit of tidying up. I lopped off anything that was less than 10, apart from a couple of notable Outriders, and then put it into order. So it makes it a little bit easier to look at. So you've got Mauler, Ministerieth, Rivendell, Moria Goblins. They're up high, aren't they?
That does surprise me, actually. That does.
Do you know Balrogs exist, lads? Take a legendary legion.
I think that, like, you know, having, especially at the points we're talking about, having like bats and trolls and drakes and stuff is just so much fun that you don't need a Balrog.
Valid.
And Lothlorien is quite high as well, I think.
It is, yeah.
The only can I say what I'm disappointed at?
What?
Bit of curveball. Where's my dwarfs at?
I was just
but to me though, right, this just proves it. I've said it all year. Dwarfs really struggle at the moment, and you can tell. Look, like no one's taking them.
Khazad-dûm?
Is it on there?
Yeah, Khazad-dûm's right in the middle.
It's
in the middle.
Serpent
so one dwarf army.
No,
probably the worst
15 people taking Khazad-dûm now, mate.
Yeah.
And the worst one in my eyes.
But is it the most? It's the most common, though, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, people
it's
love
just
it.
Like that's dwarfs, isn't it? Khazad-dûm.
Yeah. But yeah, that does surprise me that there are.
I'm interested. Goblin Town is still up there at high points.
Is it?
Yeah. So I put I cut it off at 10,
and
then I put a few things on there. So like Survivors of Lake Town, Goblin Town, Black Riders, and Assault are all down here in like under 10 people taking them to events.
See, again, Assault is very low.
Why is it so low? Why?
Because people don't want to be that guy. There's an awful stigma in this game, and I'm going to say it. I've not seen it in any other game. As to the extent of this is incredible in Lord of the Rings, and I get it. People want to be Femi, but does not make you a bad guy to take the good list. Why is that a stigma? Yeah, but why? Why is that bad? You go into an event, you want to win, so you're going to take the list that's good.
I will also say, I think it's not even just this game. It's just Britain. It's just England.
I don't get it.
It's just the negative play experience from the opponent's side.
I get that, but you're in an event, right?
Yeah.
You're at an event. If you don't want an event experience, don't go. Like I don't get it.
I like going to a weekend of gaming to play 7 games over a weekend. Personally, that's why.
Yeah, but like, and if you're there to have a good time, you'll take that list to have a good time. You might rock up against that Assault list once, and then you might not see it again. Then, because if you lost, you go down. That's the whole point of Swiss pairings, right? Yeah. And I don't understand the hate that people get directed at them. Like Angmar players get the hate directed at them. I don't understand it.
I think the thing is, if you are going to take that list, you just need to accept that that's coming.
Yeah, I agree, but that shouldn't be the case in my eyes.
And also, we just rib each other because that's what our friendship
Oh
is.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's probably
Oh,
where
you're-
90% of the hate comes from.
Yeah, there's a difference to me though with like having a jab at your mate going, yeah, you've taken the cheesy list, and then people full on hating you for it, you know? I don't know. Tangent, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I've moved the spreadsheet on the slideshow on to, so these are how many times an army appeared in the top 5 at these events. Because it's a GBHL 100 or you know, a large number of people at an event. So getting in the top 5 is a very creditable thing. It's not all about podiums and wins here.
Army of
So-
Four?
Yeah, that one was you. Yeah.
Was it? Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
the start of the
Worcester.
year, wasn't it?
Worcester.
Worcester, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got Mordor again at the top there.
Jesus.
Is that because so many people are taking them? Eventually, one of them's going to get on the top 5, or
Got
are they
it.
that good?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
got to be.
it's very interesting that they've got that many top 5s. Though,
Yeah, that
with Mordor.
surprised me. Not gonna lie.
Is that both factions for a winning army then, or is that just the primary faction still?
This is still the primary factions.
Wow.
So what is that? Is it 8? I can't because your head's blocking it.
Oh, is
it
my
8?
head blocking it? Hang on. 9.
9. Right. So then how many were taken? you
Well,
remember?
that's the next bit.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It was over 40.
Yeah, see, that's quite a high win-loss ratio, that, isn't it?
We'll find out in a couple of slides' time.
Stop spoiling it, me.
Well, do you know what is interesting though? We were saying about how, you know, Rivendell was surprisingly a high number of people taking it, and look, it's also up here, mate.
Yeah. And
But
is that
I think-
because? Go on.
Go on, mate. You go.
No,
next.
you go. I've spoken
I
up.
was just gonna say, I think because, like, you know, you've got those really expensive heroes, and you can take like 2 of them and still get a good amount of numbers at 700 plus points. And you know, Rivendell are very good. I think overall they're a solid thing. It's just like, you know, at lower points you can't afford to take enough numbers to win you a game.
Yeah.
I have a different point to
And
that.
I also do.
It might be similar.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what makes Angmar good? Magic
terror.
and terror?
Terror and magic.
What makes Mordor, a lot of good things in Mordor good?
Terror and magic.
Terror and magic. What makes Salt and Helm's Deep good?
Shooting and numbers.
What makes Black Riders good?
Magic.
What makes Fiefdoms
And
good?
terror. Numbers.
What does Rivendell have that can deal with all of those things?
Blinding Light.
Courage.
Blinding
And
light,
blinding
high
light.
courage, high fight value,
Yeah.
like great individual troops.
The bows.
Rivendell's
generally
almost
wounding
up here as it beats the other things that are up here kind of army.
Yeah.
That was exactly going to be my point. Look at the meta. Look at that. Look at it. Rivendell was good against most of that.
Yeah.
So,
If anything, I think the Fiefdoms were almost up here because they beat Rivendell.
okay.
I think
Yeah.
I backed myself with Fiefdoms against elves. I've never lost to elves with Fiefdoms, but
Yeah, I can see that because you got the D6 places and yeah, you got the fight 5 as well potentially.
yeah, it's because you also get up to fight 5, but you crack them,
Mm.
like you wound them much easier than they wound you.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that.
So, and anything that will also get to fight 5, they're paying however many points an elf, and you're paying like 8 for a guy that ends up being fight 5. You're like, woo! It
Yeah.
feels quite fun. Corsairs way down there with only 1. Losers. Host of the Dragon Emperor, slip it into the list. I added the Masters on here, if you can't tell. Just because I thought it was relevant. So yeah, and Rohan, not a legendary Legion Rohan, but Rohan up here.
Weird.
That was quite fun.
Is that like because they've been allied with Lothlorien,
I
but
expect so, yeah.
but they're dominant Rohan?
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
expect that is
Galadriel.
entirely Rowan May's fault.
Yeah.
And then this one is what Lee was talking about a second ago.
God.
So this is a percentage of how many times they're in the top 5 versus how many appearances they had. So right at the top there, you've got Theodred's Guard, Legendary Legion.
But
how many times did that turn up to an event?
it doesn't really work though, does it, in that sort of scale?
No,
It doesn't work.
because someone could have brought it to one event, like one person could have brought it to every event and they've won them.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Same as
I'm glad you mentioned that, because what I've done is I've removed anything that didn't have 5 or more appearances, and got rid of them. So Phaedra's Guard, it went to 4 events. It top 5 3 of them, for instance. However, I'm pretty sure all 4 of those were Ali, or at least 3 of them were. All of its top 5s were. Like, it just doesn't. Yeah, it's a bit of an outlier. So
yeah,
this here is our list of things that have made it into the top 5 versus their appearances, that have had 5 or more occurrences at events, and then have hit 20% or higher on their thing. So you've got Assault on Helm's Deep Legendary Legion, the most efficient win rate with 28.6. Over a quarter of a time you take Assault on Helm's Deep to an event, you're going to come top 5, guaranteed. 1 in 4.
Gatekeeper.
Black Riders, 1 in 4 times, bang on.
Gatekeeper.
Rivendell, 1 in 4 times. Angmar just a little bit underneath it, 23.5.
Okay.
Pits up there on 22.
That surprises me.
Mordor on 21. And Ugluk Scouts on 20%.
That's brilliant.
That really surprises me.
It was funny because when you
The thing
mentioned it
is,
earlier, you were like, the Scout Legion's not even good at 700.
But they're
I
not.
think the thing is, with that one, animosity can be used so much better because you've just got so many orcs and so many Uruks. You can almost guarantee that some of them will make it up, I guess.
Yeah, I get it. I do still stand by your comment earlier though, that they top out at like 600. Whoever that guy is, he's a hero.
It's the Irish event. There's a lad from Ireland and who uses them all the time.
I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm just like, lists have certain points or levels where they spike potential at and then they drop off.
You mentioned you're surprised at Pits as well.
Yeah, I am a little bit.
I'm not, because the thing is, 700 plus points, you've got a lot of magic, and I think that's where Azog's Hunters and Legion fail, is that you can just get magic, like Azog can just get like the transfix off, and then he's just nullified for the rest of the game, and he's not doing anything, and he's a linchpin of the army. Whereas for this, like, you know, you've got basically a free resist every turn, and random orcs just resisting things is the most stupid thing ever. Like, you know, if they try and compel a banner away, he has a free resist and he just resists it and stuff like that. So I think it can be quite handy.
I think it's a little bit like what we said earlier about, you know, what beats the other armies around here and being resistant to their magical shenanigans. Certainly helps.
And auto taking priority is big.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very strong.
The amount of times you see Black Riders players using all like so much air might for heroic moves just to get the spells off and things like that. If you can get close to them, then charge them with that priority, you can really shut them down. I don't think anything else in here is hugely surprising.
No, I don't think so.
No, I really do think. I mean, this is in the UK where we're not seeing a huge amount of Assault and Helm's Deep usage, because people seem to shun it. If you go over to Europe, there are events happening where like a third of the field are Assault and Helm's Deep.
Yeah,
that it is carnage over there.
Yeah.
If you go to London, there are events happening where a third of the field is Assault and Helm's Deep. You boys love a ballista over there, don't you?
There's only one person I know in London who takes Assault. He's not even from London.
You love a siege weapon.
He's not from around here.
Oh god, yeah. People in London love siege weapons and I hate it so much. It's horrible.
So in these as well, the other thing I wanted to have a quick look at while these guys are up here is what are the general like troops like in these armies? So we've got Assault on Helm's Deep. You've got what they fight 4, strength 4, defense 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then you've got a high impact kind of crossbow strength 4. You've got a lot of those. And then you obviously, if you're doing 700, you're taking at least 2 ballistas.
And you have a lot of troops still too.
Yeah, because you don't have any big heroes, so you just and ballistas are so cheap, which is
They are
really good.
crazy cheap. They are crazy.
You've got your Black Riders, who I mean we all know about now. It's just magic spam at the wazoo.
Obnoxious.
Rivendell, so you get up to fight 5, but they're only strength 3. But you can 2-hand with them sometimes and kind of hope safe, but in a lot of D6 stuff. A lot of shooting
again,
as well.
Yeah, their strength 3 shots are going to rinse most of these armies that are in the top here. Because a fair bit of it is D5.
Yeah.
Surprises me.
Because that's your Angmar then is fight 3, but it's all about, I mean, it relies on the terror and the magic and things like that, doesn't it, really, rather than the and then your big hero, it's like Gullivar.
Yeah.
Shutting people down. And just huge numbers of troops, man. They get insane numbers, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I think just the terror of being able to pick your fights and stopping your opponent charging you is just really handy.
Yeah.
Because then you just use the orcs as roadblocks, and then your heroes go and do the killing. Yeah.
It's because your enemy gets split up. If they fail like one terror charge test, it can muck up their entire battle line, which then means your monsters can go in and have a great time because you're broken up.
Yeah.
Terror's really good. I use that one.
But Pits. So Pits is all fight 3, isn't it? But it is strength 4.
Yeah. I think it's just numbers. I mean, I think that's what and using hunter orcs effectively to just get traps and have multiple hunter orcs on one guy. You've got 4 attacks, and then if you put spear supports in as well, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, you don't need fight 4.
No. And you just got to accept you're going to lose fights on, just they're going to die, but eventually, overall, you're going to win.
Yeah. And then Mordor is basically the same as Angmar, but slightly less efficient. And I think it's got better foot troops, hasn't it? Really.
4 D6 with Morannons and terror front lines with Black Nuns and
Morannons are one of my top 2 warrior evil models in the game, man.
Definitely,
they're so good.
And the terror guys that are fight 4,
Black Morannons.
Yeah, those 2 together and a Black Nun and a Morannon orc. It's such a good battle line.
Yeah,
strength 4, fight 4.
Cheeky Nazgul behind them, and you're golden.
Yeah,
and then Ugluk scouts sneaking
fight 4
in there.
horde.
Fight 4 horde. You love it. Fight 4 strength 4 horde.
And just being able to move so fast, just redeploy, bait and switch, and it's
so
really good.
I think the general gist is you need, in my eyes, you need fight 4, strength 4, if you can, and numbers.
It's hilarious because that's what we had a very similar thing for the low meta, which was just fight 4, strength 4, D6.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like, you'd think you don't need as many models at higher points, but you kind of do, because your big heroes, there are so many. If you can spam out models, your enemy's big heroes aren't going to do as much as they can because there's just too much for them to do.
Yeah, I think
it's interesting as well. The prevalence of strength 4 almost seems to make D6 void.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. I think
you look at that, 5, all you've got up there that's D6 is Rivendell and Assault, right? Everything else is D5.
Yeah. I think D5 is the sweet spot really at the moment. D5 or D7, D6, it just isn't as good as it was because everything's strength 4 or +1 to wound. There is so much +1 to wound. It's incredible.
If anyone was curious, I didn't put it on a slide because I'm sad, but the bottom couple in terms of win percentage Moria Goblins, 4.5% of armies entering made it to the top 5. Lothlorien,
Oh,
the
okay.
Serpent Horde, Minas Tirith, Rohan not in a legendary legion.
But why would you do that?
Corsairs,
Interesting.
less than 10% of Corsair armies are entered.
I think that's because it takes some skill to get right. Because you're still a D3, D4 army that needs to be able to get round and get those traps, get positioning right, get everything right, and know how to use those arbalesters.
Riders of Theoden. Next one up.
Is that low?
Really low. Only 11%.
That does surprise me. But then the problem with Riders for me at high points is you see a lot more monsters. You see a lot more fell beasts and wraiths, and they just hurl through you and just yeah.
Do you know what my opinion of it is? It's too easy to get. So it is good. We all know it's good. Loads of people have Rohan lying around. If someone said, "Oh, bring a strong 700-point list tomorrow," and I hadn't thought of anything, I would grab Riders of Theoden out of the box and go, "Come on, then, let's go deal with this."
Yeah,
and
I agree.
You're almost guaranteed to see it multiple times at an event because everyone picks up and thinks it's good. And it's one of those. If you can't beat it, you're not going to win an event.
Yeah. And also, I think gambling nerf still is having a bit of an impact. People think it's not as good. I've said that before, and it's still very good.
I think it's still worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially if you put him like near Merry, it's just like, okay, free might every turn, sorted.
Yeah.
So over here on our next page, what I've done is I brought up this Host of the Dragon Emperor Legendary Legion list. So this is now, it came to the Masters, came second in the Masters, having only been out for a couple of weeks. And do we think this could potentially challenge the top end of the meta?
Yes. Having played it, it's horrible. Having played against the Mordor Easterling Alliance with Strength 4 Morannons and then fight 5 Black Dragons like supporting, it's just disgustingly good.
Sounds like a Rohan Lothlorien combo to me.
Yeah, it's a good mix, and Dragon Emperor is good, worth his points, definitely worth his points. I think he's going to probably take a bump once Games Workshop has sold enough models of it.
I would actually disagree. I don't think so. For me, it still struggles to kill stuff. You're still only strength 3. The Dragon Emperor is still only strength 4. No +1 to wound. He's a big old base, and if events have got enough terrain on their tables like they should have, he should not be able to move around as easily as you would like him to. Getch in his bubble. It's good. I'm not saying it's not good, but I don't think as it stands it could displace Assault or Black Riders. Even Survivors. They probably have a great time against Survivors, but anything D6. So like if Army of Thor is not top tier, but I think Army of Thor would give this a good old battering, depending on what mission. Because you're going to struggle to kill stuff still.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't answer the question that was asked because I just realised you were talking about the Legion, not just the Dragon Emperor in general.
Yeah. So, I see.
Yeah. Sorry, I just realised as you were talking about it, I was like, Zahir just done stupid.
He's done a silly, any.
But it's really good. It is really good. But I don't think, and put it this way, the person who did well with it, he's played Eastlings for a long time, right? So it kind of just was like, here's an upgrade, go nuts. And, so
he deserved the upgrade.
Yeah, he did, to be fair. And I just don't think it's not going to be top dog. I wouldn't have thought. Hot take. Tell me I'm wrong in like 3 months' time when it's like dominating everywhere.
this will be on the internet for eternity, so we can all come back and laugh at you.
Yeah.
I
I
think the
really
thing is,
want
when you-
someone to beat you at an event down the road with it, and then go,
Honestly,
"See, I told you."
because I think
If I came up
that-
against this and I had Army of Thor or Assault and Helm's Deep, I would not be worried in the slightest.
You
Hot
see, the
take.
thing is, I think some of the things, not all of the things, but some of the things we were saying about elves that makes elves good, the high fight, the high defense, all those things are in this now. You've got up to fight 5.
Yeah.
You've got elves are strength 3. Admittedly, you haven't got as good shooting, but you know, give and take. You can take Black Dragon Cataphracts, which will be fight 4. You know, they can be D7 when they're all together, which is lost, you know, and they've got armored horses. So it can be, you know, you can get some killy stuff there.
That is actually a very good point, and I didn't think of it like that. So yeah, I will agree with you here that it is basically elves, but the only difference of elves is they can 2-hand on the front guy.
Oh yeah,
To get that plus 1 through. But you know, you're right. I didn't make that link, and yeah, we're saying Riverdale is good, and actually, so yeah, maybe I am wrong.
I didn't say it's as good as Rivendell, but it's got some of the bits that make Rivendell good. You know,
I agree. It's basically copy. It's basically copy a lot of things, and I didn't see it that way. So that's a good point. So I'm probably wrong.
You're losing the shooting and the magic and the like really heavy hitters like the Gil-galads and your Glorfindel and Elrond and that. But
then you've got more models.
Yeah, exactly. And as we said before, models are, you know, how you win games.
Models win games, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm wrong. Well done, Zahir.
We will find out, I'm sure, over the next few months. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, just have a little chat about it. And that was good. I love discussions. Love acolytes. I'm deliberately putting little areas onto my boards now where I think acolytes will have a great time. Just to see. I'm like, oh, where can I put a little string of walls that acolytes can just sprint over?
Where can 100-meter sprint?
Where can I make a little dramatic moment where you can leap over a gap and surprise someone? Right.
I think they're rubbish. Just saying it.
So
I would agree.
I mean, that about wraps up all of my lovely stats and figures that I brought for everyone. Has anything surprised you about our findings from today?
Yeah, me being quite fiery and checking all the hate
at this time of night.
That's why. I need to go to bed. I'm a nice guy, honest. I'm a nice guy, I promise.
He's out for blood. If you see him at an event and he's not brought a sweaty list, make sure you ask him why. Make sure if you see him at, Into the West in a couple of weeks' time and he's just brought some pokey dwarfs, make sure you challenge him and be like, look, why have your mates all got sweaty Army of Lake Town lists and you've only brought dwarfs because they're fun?
450 points
because you didn't want to be that guy. Make sure you ask him that because he's just said that on the internet.
I honestly, if I had them, I'd take them, but I don't have them.
I'm actually more scared of Lee with his 450 points of dwarves than anything else. Actually,
it depends. It's all mission dependent.
I think you've got it down. I think you've got it down now.
Well, yeah, me and Tom. So let's come back quickly. Go segue back to where we started at the beginning. But Know Your Army. So we were at a practice game. I've had 2 practice games against Tom, and I got the beginning bit right, and I got the end bit wrong. And I genuinely I deserved to lose the game because I made a big mistake. But because I knew how the army worked, I engineered a way out of it. Whereas if that was a different army, I wouldn't have known what to do and how to get out of that tight spot.
Yeah.
So Know Your Armies. It's all well and good.
Friends help their friends by just throwing random armies at them to help them.
Yeah, that's it. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's all well and good having these lake towns, Angmar, Assault and Helm's Deep. Yes, they're good. But if you don't know how to play them, you will lose.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, it's nothing to do with them. It's all about the mission. So
yeah. Just if you want another controversial point, I'm just gonna try and weasel this one in.
Go on.
We've got a couple of months now before we're going to hit with the August FAQ. What's the one thing you want to see addressed in the August FAQ?
Outriders killing themselves. Just check it out there, because like Isengard Bomb, they stopped you blowing yourself up to end the game, but yet Ring Wraiths can still do it. I don't see how or why that's fair. If you're going to stop one army from doing it, you have to stop everybody from doing it, in my eyes.
I feel like I went on a massive rant about that when they did it for the Assault Legion. I can't remember where it is. Can't remember what channel it's on.
I think that's before I started playing, to be honest with you. That
swear we went on a nice.
Yeah, I was about to say I've
old
only been playing a year.
Yeah, that was before my time.
Yeah.
Because it was when it came out just after they'd been to the Masters that year, and Jasmine took Assault on Helm's Deep and blew herself up.
Yeah,
And
beat Jay, didn't he? Did she?
Yeah, I think she beat Jay doing it. Yeah, or something like that.
There's an FAQ now. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was just one of those. It lacks the interaction between things. Like you said, a negative play experience.
Oh, I get it, and I agree 100%. It should not be a thing. Like blowing yourself up with a bomb is dumb, but so's blowing yourself up by casting spells. And like, would a Ring Wraith do that? Like, it doesn't even make sense thematically in my eyes. But
yeah,
hopefully
I
they
100% agree.
Yeah, like, or they could just say that the Nazgul don't poof when they get to 0 will. Take out that entire rule, so they don't lose the will for combat, and they don't die when they get to 0.
I see.
That could be quite interesting, because then they have to stick around, and then you've got no magic, so they will die because they've got no toys anymore, but they've still got to carry on playing. Yeah. Maybe a different way to do it.
I feel like we talked about that Legion quite a bit, but I feel like they could have done a bit more. It's just a bit. I don't know.
I still think it takes a really good player to get it right. So 100%. I think that it's okay. But yeah.
Poor old Jamie proved that. Shade.
I haven't seen how he's done with that. So.
No, he's done all right with it, to be fair. I'm winding him up. I love him, really.
Do we think they've done enough with the Assault Legion?
Yes.
No. I think they need to nerf it a bit more. A ballista at 65 points is borderline silly.
Maybe you can only take. Well, I know, but that's a rule anyway, isn't it? You can only take a ballista per hero of fortitude you've got anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can't take loads of them anyway. So
you can take 3 at 700.
Yeah, you can.
But I mean, like, I feel like they should be like 80 points but it's hard because in that Legion they're really good. But if they're not in the Legion, they're nowhere near as good.
No.
So, like, not in the Legion, they're 65 points. But when they're in the Legion, boy, oh boy, are they worth more than 65 points.
Yeah. Or maybe you could do something like you have to take a bomb team and a ballista.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And then you can take another one. And then you take another bomb team, and then you take another ballista and another bomb team. Or something like that. So you have to spend 90 points on a bomb team to then get another ballista or something. I don't know. Just throwing
I really like that, and it's very themey. Like the whole Rangers taking Frodo, Sam, and Gollum. Yeah. Same thing. That would be quite cool. They are very strong. There has only
been 1 points change ever in the roster.
And Hill's ballista.
Hill's ballista, yeah.
And they nerfed that to the ground. It's not worth 125 points anymore.
Yeah, I was chatting to people about it the other day because they were saying basically what they did was all a timing thing. So they clearly wrote the rules for Hill's ballista in the old edition. Then they brought out a new edition of the rules where siege weapons got better. Then they brought out the Iron Hills ballista, and they hadn't adjusted for the siege weapons getting better when they brought out the Iron Hills ballista. So then they had to go panic, and change it because they've also nerfed magic this edition.
Yeah.
This is where magic being weaker than it was before.
I know, it's still so good.
Because it was, it's that getting the will back on a 6 to resist. That never used to happen before.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be nice if you just resisted the spell, you got a will back? So say cast on a 5 and you rolled the 5, you would get 1 wheel back. That'd be nice. Would
Might
that be
be
too
too far.
good?
With a 1 wheel,
Might be too far.
because the
Too
thing
far?
is, because you've only got like, except for Nazgul, most casters have only got 3 will or 2 will to cast a magical power, and then once they're done, they're done.
Mm.
Here's
And then you
my
start-
here's my hot take. Angmar.
Yeah, they
Right.
need changing.
So
Go on.
Witch King. Why can he bring a fell beast and the crown of Morgul in Angmar?
Because they're Mordor things.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no, that's
It's-
what I'm agreeing with you.
yeah.
He shouldn't. They
So-
shouldn't be.
Either
No.
one or t'other, or both if you want. Gone. Get that crown out there right now.
yeah,
I think
That's
Felbeasts more than the crown, because Felbeasts were like specifically Third Age Sauron breeding them and using them for war in the War of the Ring.
Yeah,
But-
but the crown of Morgul's also
No,
Right.
yeah,
both of them gone. Get them both in the bin.
for me, it's the I agree, and maybe Paralyze should not be on a 4. Sorry.
I think that's okay going off 50%.
Oh. It's the best spell in the game,
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
and it's on a 4.
Yeah.
Why is it on a 4? Why? Should be a 5. They've
Yeah.
got 5 will. That would still
Yeah.
mean, like, on average, you're getting like 1.5, nearly 2 every game.
Yeah.
Like, and they're so cheap, and they cast on a 4. Every video, I just shout, they cast it on a 4. Every video. And you're on about feel bad moments. How?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody put it on their Facebook. How to make big heroes sad? Make them lie down on the floor every turn, and then it's not even that one turn. You then have
Because
to
you
roll
can't
a
get
6
up. You
to
never
stand
get
back
up.
up. But then people go, oh, but you could roll a 6. But or you put lads around it. Cool, I'll put 6 lads around it. That's 6 dudes out of my battle line. Like
Yeah.
that's how many points is that taking away that one spell on a 4?
I know.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
That's
to
the
be-
hill I
to-
die on.
Look, you're completely right, because like I played Angmar with the one army that should beat it at 550, which is Arnor, and I did really well, and then the battle lines clashed and I completely screwed up.
Yeah,
It was just the magic and
Honestly.
all of that. It's just horrible.
I think
that is the hill I die on.
so. This is my. I think if you take the crown away from the Witch King, the paralyzers get worse as well.
I would agree with
Because the
that.
Witch King is such a reliable caster, you have to split up your resources stopping it.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Witch King being so reliable, he can chuck out, was it a 2-up transfix?
Yeah,
Almost every turn, re-rolling that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
you've got that. If you can deal with a paralyzed, you've then got that to deal with.
yeah.
Whereas if you take a little bit of that, just reliability away from
Sort
him,
of it.
that's my.
I would agree with that. I would agree.
I would agree too. And also, it seems more themey.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like the only profile that doesn't allow you to take something from its original profile is Azog, I think, which is you can't take the Signal Tower and heavy armor in the Hunter's Fist. I think that's the only one you're not allowed to specifically take any war gear with,
Mm,
which is annoying.
yeah,
But that's it. That's my bold prediction.
yeah. I would agree.
I'd like
But
to
it's
see
not
that
going to
happen.
happen. It's not going to happen.
No, it won't happen. They won't touch it. The thing is, you've got to be so careful because the game is in a good place.
Yeah,
You've got to be really careful of what you do change.
that's the thing. Like the game is very balanced, I think, and you've got the problem is you have got a caliber of player who are just at the top, and they've got their army that they play time in, time out, and they win the tournaments. That's just the way they play. And then, like you with your dwarves, you just have your army that you gel with, and Ali with his Deirdre's Guard. You've got those people who just know how to play that army,
Well,
no matter what they're against.
that's a delightful segue onto my final point of
Okay.
this evening.
Oh, God, I thought we were done.
No, it's a very quick,
Oh, I thought we
very
were
quick
done
thing.
I was ready.
And
to-
it brings us back to what I mentioned earlier about the army,
Yeah, true.
right? So, Phaedra's Guard, Ali, he uses them a lot. He's won lots of times. The very first time he took them to an event, what happened in his first game in that event? Lee
He lost to some scrub. Me.
Some scrub who'd never been to an event before.
No.
Because it's a brand new army. You don't know that army. Take it to one event. Lost his first couple of games or however it went, and then now, bam, 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 bam.
He actually lost. He lost to me, then he won the next 6.
All right.
And came second.
Submarining.
Tactical submarine.
So that was it. He actually just let Lee win because he thought he was like 12. Because I mean, admittedly, when I first met you at that tournament, saw you and at that tournament, I was like, "Oh, look, Tom's got his little brother there, or he's got his ward with him."
Genuinely, I've said this before. It helps me. Genuinely, people rock up and go, "Oh, he's only a kid. This is going to be an easy win." And then halfway through the game, like, "Oh."
then halfway through the game, they check the league rankings. Oh, Billy Big Bollocks.
What's that?
And then halfway through the game, they check the league rankings and see that you're 3rd or whatever you are. Ooh.
Not for long.
All right. Thanks for sticking with us if you're still here. For a little rambly bit at the end. If you're still here, don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And Lee, what should you do?
Ring the bell.